these students up here who have been working all semester on their public speaking skills. I ask at this time that you silence your cell phones. If you do need to leave, please wait till one speaker is finished and we transition into another one. I appreciate you all being here, and we will get our hero celebration started. For those of you who don't know, we are celebrating these 22 students as heroes tonight. So they're going to be giving little speeches as to who their heroes are and why. So our first speaker tonight is Darrell Davis. Please give him a hand.
At the end of the day, the work you put in is what will show in your performance. It comes from a wise man I call my hero. This quote rides with me every day. There are three words that come to mind when thinking about a hero: generous, trustworthy, and determined. This guy has those characteristics. When I think of a hero, I think of someone with those characteristics and a person who is selfless. Also, a hero can be someone who has changed their life in a positive way. He is the realest person I've ever met in my life and will never tell you a lie and always will tell you how it is if you want to hear it or not. A way I could say that he is generous is because I really don't know anybody who will lose their sleep to work out at 5:30 in the morning almost every other day. He will make up stuff that I've never seen or heard of in my life. Some workouts will consist of pulling yourself upside down on the pull-up bar and doing a pull-up. I used to think he was crazy for some of the stuff he showed me. There's not many people I can go to and talk about anything and know that that information is safe with him. Also, he has been the best workout partner I've had in my life. He has showed me great drive and determination to make me the best athlete going into college. My coach has not just changed me as an athlete, he has also changed me as a young man. We have our days when we have long talks about life during workouts. He has told me a lot of his stories from when he was my age and younger. I look to this man as a big brother, and I have because I have learned so much from him since I met him 3 years ago. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have the body structure that I have today. He has been the one who's transformed my body through high school, and I can walk around school and feel confident that I'm the strongest kid in school because of him. I'm glad I can call Coach Stallings my hero because he has made a change in my life.
Of all the people in the world, I believe everyone is put on this earth to make a difference. Whether it be to become successful, to become someone's hero, or to just all in all make a change in the world that we live in. We each have our own minds, our own goals, and our own ambitions. So how we all live our lives, it differs. The one person that stands out to me the most when it comes to being very dedicated is my father, Richard Windham. He's a very strong, passionate man, and he loves more than he ever would love himself. My father is very adept at playing almost every instrument, and growing up as a child, I was raised in a church and I was raised around music at a really young age, at about 2. I was taught right from wrong, and I was educated more about Christian lives and about God. My dad would play his music for hours and he would read his Bible for days. I was used to seeing him like that I started to try and imitate him, wanting to learn how to play instruments and wanting to learn how to read my word. I could tell he was a dedicated man because whatever his tasks were, he worked hard to get them done and he didn't stop until he was happy with himself inside. The day I knew he was a dedicated man was the day he told me that he wanted to start his own church. I was excited, I was surprised, and I was just so happy for him because not only did I know that he was going to be successful, but I knew that he had potential in just what he was wanting to do. I just knew he was going to be successful. So he called the ministry Shiloh Apostolic Ministries, and he started in his basement of his home. So not knowing who would support him or not knowing who would show up for him, the fact that he still, went with it and had a church in his basement, I just look up to him for that. My brother Richard, that's him right there. My best friend Nisi, that's her right there, and me, and one of his friends. We were the praise team, and we had cousins, and they played instruments, so they were the instrumentalists. I'm sorry, and my dad was the preacher, and just people were there. It was cool. So the basement ministry, it lasted for a year, and after that, it wasn't. We were able to relocate to an actual building. My dad showed dedication by going through with his ministry for a year. He is still to this day committed to his ministry, and it's gotten even more better. My father is my hero because he's been there for me all my life, and he sets an example for me, so thank you, Dad.
If your friends jumped off a cliff, would you do it too? Don't be a follower, be a leader, and lead by example. These are wise words spoken by a wise woman. It's easy to give advice, but hard to give good advice and use it yourself. If you ask a kid what a hero was, the response you might get is Batman or Spider-Man. A hero in my eyes is a selfless, humble, and self-reflective person. This woman is my hero because she takes her own advice and leads by example. She is selfless and changes people's lives without even knowing. She inspires me to be a better me. Let's start from the beginning. My hero is from Cincinnati, Ohio. She was raised by a single mother along with her two older brothers. She attended Bond Hill Elementary and went to high school at Woodward CAMAS. After high school, she attended UC in Cincinnati State, where she graduated from. My hero has worked in a nursing home, for Coca-Cola, as a dental assistant, as a wedding planner, and currently as project manager and vice president slash chief operating office of Ellington Management. My hero is a great example of what I want to be in my future. Not only is she working as a COO, she is also back in college working to finish up another degree and will be graduating again with me in 2014. Some mothers can't juggle being in the workforce, being in school, and being a mother, but my hero can. She hasn't always been a single mother technically, but at the same time she has. Her husband's job was fixing lasers in doctor's offices used for surgery and other things. This job required him to travel on a daily basis to states all over the U.S. to fix the lasers, so he wouldn't be around all the time, but was still there. Now they are divorced. This is why I say technically she was always a single mother. Although she has so much on her plate, she still finds the time to be a great mother. As if being a single mother in college wasn't enough, she also has a 21-year-old in college she pays for and tends to, a 12-year-old with scoliosis and drama. Then there's me, who will be attending college in a year. She doesn't complain about all this or her financial situation. She just deals with it with a smile on her face. She would go without something before any of her kids had to. She's taught me life lessons, although many of times we bumped heads along the way. Some women after divorce do not know how to pull it together and be there completely for their kids, but my hero was completely there for us through the whole thing. She will leave work to attend any activities we have or if we just need her to be there. Nothing comes before us, and she would do anything to make us happy. Over the past year, my hero has been through a lot. She had a lot of emotions and wasn't herself. Seeing my hero cry hurt me as much as the situation she was going through was hurting her. Through her pain, she still managed to be a great mother, get A's and B's in college, and be a great businesswoman. Not many people can be all that in one. My hero is like Superwoman. Although she was hurt and she still remained strong, continued on with her education and career, which is why she's my hero. She inspires me to push through and be a better person, and I'd be content to grow up and be at least half the woman she is today. My hero is my mom, Dina Crosby.
I would have never thought that I could call a man dad after all I have been through with my biological father being in and out of my life. The only thing that sounded right coming out of my mouth was mom, mom, or mommy. This is a man that took me in as one of his own. He decided that he was going to be the missing piece in my life without me even knowing it. This man is a strong individual because he never had to, but it was in his will that he was going to make me a bright young man that would be ready for the real world by the time I was 18. He has taught me many of things that are making me the man who I am today, such as treating with the most respect. He treats my mom as she is truly a queen, and that's how I want to treat my wife one day. He took me from going down the wrong path and put me on track for the right one. When he was telling me that we were exactly alike, it wasn't really getting to me, so I was doing the opposite of what he was telling me needed to be done. Yet he was still there for me when I was in the wrong. There has been times where he was the only person I could rely on when I needed someone the most. I can honestly say that he has been a big part of my life. He has given me that fatherly love that I never experienced, also never expected. Even though we may have had our ups and downs or misunderstandings, he will always be my dad. If I needed help on homework, he would help me. If I wasn't doing something right on the field, he would be there to let me know what I was doing wrong and would help me from making that mistake again. He took me to all my football camps when the team wasn't involved. Since he's been in my life, my trouble percentage has went down extremely. Before he married my mom, he wanted to make things right, make things feel right with me because I was so used to my mom doing everything for me. I wasn't ready for another man to be in my life. I can actually say that he has made a difference in Darian Tucker. He always told me I could make it to the next level, and he beat it in my head until I actually believed I could. And when I believed I could, I became a Kentucky State thoroughbred. If it wasn't for him making calls to coaches, talking to secretaries all day and night to make sure that I really was in, I really don't know what I would be doing after high school. My definition of a hero is someone who has gone out their way to help someone in need. And my hero happens to be the man I call Dad, Chris Macklin.
The relationship I have with my parents has gradually gotten to the point where I can talk to them about any of my problems. About a month ago, they had to pack up and leave the country to go see my sick grandmother, who lives in Guatemala. Trying to contact them has been very difficult to do, and I've barely talked to them. I very well understand why they had to leave, but I wish it wasn't towards the end of my senior year when I needed them the most. Even at 18 years old, I still need their guidance and advice, no matter how many times I say I'm an adult. I needed someone who could emotionally be a maternal figure to me. I needed that one person who would step up to advise me on my decisions and tell me, have a good day, every single morning. I've always told her she's my school mama, but it wasn't until very recently when I realized how much she meant to me. She stepped up and probably didn't even know that she was the maternal figure that I needed. I've known Miss Ruley for 3 years now, and I would have never imagined that she would be such a huge part of my life. I never thought that I would end up calling my computer applications teacher on advice whether I should quit my job or not because I was too scared to work night shifts. I never thought I would end up calling her to get opinion on potential prom dresses. I never thought that she would be such a huge part of my life. I remember one day Miss Ruley and I were talking in her room and we were discussing how my parents had left to go see my sick grandmother. She knew what I was talking about. And what made me more understanding why my parents left was when she started talking about how my mother leaving was the best thing she could have done for herself, no matter how much I miss her. But what hit me the most was when she started talking about her own mother passing. And for her to sit there and recall everything, how everything had happened, was truly touching. I remember looking into her eyes and how her eyes started to water. But behind those teary eyes, all I could see was a strong woman. A woman who I didn't realize up till now reminded me of my own mother. These two women care immensely for me. They feed me, and even though it may not be Guatemalan food, Miss really does everything she can. I can sit with her and talk to her about anything, and when she responds, all I see is my mother. The effort that she has put in over the last month has been more than I could ask her. With my parents 2,503 miles away from home, missing the academic signing, prom, and other events, there was still that one person I could count on. Miss Ruley is kind, humble, caring, and that's what a hero is to me. A hero is someone who can pick me up even when they're having the worst of days too. A hero cares for you not just for an hour or two, but forever. My hero is someone I love and will always cherish because of the person she is and the kindness she shows towards others. This woman has been there for me whenever I needed her, from picking out prom dresses to being a mother. She's not only a school mom now, but will always be a mother figure to me. I would like to thank you for helping me get through this month, and if it wasn't for you, the end of my senior year wouldn't have been as enjoyable.
As a young adult growing up, when we have a problem, we always seem to run to our parents. But what do you do when they're not there or just don't understand what you're going through? Through my childhood and teen years, I've always been able to turn to my best friend, Iman Powell, for everything, from school to work and home. Iman and I met in the 4th grade at Glendale Elementary in Mrs. Laser class. When school was out, we would take the same way home. Once we noticed we lived very close, we started becoming the best of friends. I remember the times we would make fun of the crosswalk security guard on the way home from school and picking buckeyes from the smelly trees next to the playground. I remember when we would ride our bikes to the park and just sit there and talk. When we got to high school, we tried to make our schedules the same, but we would never have the same classes. My hero has taught me so much about myself that I didn't know. She has helped me shape the person I am today. I have no problem with telling her anything because I know she'll always be there for me. Having a best friend that doesn't judge you is a powerful thing to have. We have built a remarkable friendship that no one or nothing can come between. almost like it's just the two of us against the world. My hero has the qualities of being selfless, confident, and self driven. She is a great sister to her younger brother. When her parents aren't around or away at work, she sees that her brother gets to practice, helps him with his homework, and makes sure that she plays with him. She's not afraid of being herself. She can talk to almost anyone and make them laugh. Her goofy but tolerable personality is what makes her uniquely herself. Iman is always there to comfort me when I'm down. Earlier this year, when my grandmother passed away, she was one of the first right by my side. She came right over to see how I was doing. Immediately after that, she started cracking jokes about a few things my grandmother would say and how she made us all laugh. A hero to me doesn't have to be an adult. It doesn't have to be a parent or anyone characterizing to a particular group. I believe that what matters most about a person are their qualities, characteristics, and how well they listen, and most of all, what you learn from them. A hero is a person who teaches you about yourself. A person that a, a hero is that one person who's always truthful, someone who lets you know when you're right and when you're wrong. Someone that not only loves you but protects you. As humans, we all need to realize that a person may not remember exactly what you said or what you have done to them, but they will always remember the way you make them feel. With that being said, I like to say to my hero, Iman Pal, thank you. You make me feel special and grateful to have had the opportunity to have someone like you in my life. Iman is not just my hero, but a sister, a best friend, a teacher, and a great listener. I hope to share many years of our friendship, and I couldn't ask for a better hero.
My hero has always said, close doesn't count except in horseshoes and hand grenades. He has told me this throughout my whole life, not only because he wants me to get close to my goals, but exceed them. A hero to me is someone who has had a great powerful impact in my life in a positive way. It's someone I can count on to lead me to success in this world. So who would my hero be? Well, none other than my father, Jim Sprawl. Jim has dedicated his life not only to helping out our family in every means, but to benefit those around us, as he has served as a police officer in District 2 for quite some time. My dad goes into work every day not knowing what's in store for him. My dad has many qualities that I believe would classify him as a hero. However, tonight, I'll only share a few. 3 qualities that classify my dad are hardworking, courageous, and determined. As a devoted father to his wife and 5 children, he is always faced with many challenges he must complete. Like I stated earlier, he's a police officer who works 5 days a week to help provide for our family. After work every day, he generally sits in his office to get additional work done. As you can see, he's pretty hardworking, but the list continues. He cooks dinner for our family every night so that we have a warm meal 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and every year for quite some time. He teaches his children good healthy habits as he even finds time to work out 3 to 4 days a week. Aside from all these things, he generally spends his off time on the weekends doing chores to help my mother out. This hard work and devotion doesn't just blossom in everyone, it is obtained over many years. As a cop in District 2, my dad never knows what is going to happen in his job. Most people go into their jobs daily knowing what they will need to accomplish and what the day will be like. Well, my dad, not being like most people, shows courage every day by completing his job. I remember looking up on the wall in my dad's office to see awards and commendations on his work that he's done as a cop. Many people would declare my dad as firm, resolute, and gritty. But one thing for sure is that he is determined to get anything done he finds imaginable. As a father of 5 children, he has to be stern on what he expects from us. My dad is determined to have his children do well in school. He helps provide the best education for us. He helps us when help is needed, and he even sets a minimum GPA requirement that we must obtain and or exceed. My dad is indomitable when it comes to giving us all we need to outdo others and become the best we can for future employers. He is determined to make sure his kids are headed to the positive way in life. When I was younger, still in elementary school, my dad had sat down with me at our kitchen table and spent numerous hours teaching me the subjects I was struggling in. He always stayed with me until I had understood the topic and was prepared for the next day. This speech cannot truly commend all the reasons why my dad is my hero, because he has done so much for me unknowingly that I would have to write a novel on that. And quite frankly, let's be honest, you guys don't have time for that. So, for all that my dad has done, not only for me, but for others, I would just like to say thank you in regards to them. Thank you so much for having such a positive influence in my life and leading me down the correct road in my life.
People frequently associate the mother as the better parent. I can't say that because my dad is a parent who is the best. My dad, Doug Shannon, has been there for me ever since day one, and he has gone to bat for me whenever I need it. And that is why he is my hero. If I have not done well on a test, he would, and I had the ability to retake it, he would force me to retake it. That shows that he has high expectations for me, and that is one reason why he is my hero. A quote that he has said to me in the past is, "No matter what you do, I will always be there for you." He has said this to me on many occasions. One of those occasions was in the 5th grade. I got written up for quote unquote disrespecting a sub. I thought that my dad wasn't going to stick up for me because he doesn't tolerate disrespectfulness towards anyone. But since they did not give any evidence, he went in and told the teachers that I wasn't going to serve the detention because you guys don't have any evidence to support it. That is one way he is energetic. 3 words to describe him are kind, energetic, and hardworking. One way that he is hardworking is he goes out every weekend and works either in the yard or on some weekends when I'm at my mom's, he works at Fairfield. We were having problems with our hot water heater, so he went out and got a new one. He was down in the basement working for 2 days straight on it trying to fix it. We would offer him help, but he would always say no. He is also kind in many ways. He would always help me even if he did not want to, or he helps out other people, whether he's at work or he's outside of work. When Orlando was waiting for his mom to pick him up, my dad stopped the car. It was getting ready. It had just started pouring down rain, so my dad offered him a ride home. He was ready to get home because he was sick and he didn't feel well. That is just one of the things that he has done that is kind. I can't think of how many times he has done something for someone that they have appreciated. Most people believe that the mom is the best, but I would disagree. Everyone that knows my dad believes my dad is hot-headed, stubborn, and difficult. But once they get to know him, they will understand why I admire my father. My father has modeled to me how I want to parent my children, and I hope that my children will look up to me when I'm older as being one of their heroes.
Where I come from, most kids don't have a male role model in their life. As a result, sometimes they get into more legal trouble and make bad decisions with school and other situations. I'm lucky that I have a male role model in my life. My male role model is my hero. A hero to me is someone I look up to or imitate their values and learn from their mistakes. My hero is my dad because he has lived his life and kind of knows what I'm going through with school, parents, and getting into trouble. My dad says to me all the time, I used to be young too, which means I can't lie my way out of situations because he likely did the same thing growing up. For example, last year during wrestling season, I decided to skip practice and go to the mall. I went with another friend whose dad usually picks us up. I told I told his dad that my brother was picking us up so we could stay longer and get back to school before my dad came to pick us up. Uh, when my dad came to get us, he didn't see us, so he went into the locker room and asked where we were. My coach said he hasn't seen us all practice. My dad called me while we was walk. Next thing you know, my dad called me while we was walking back, and he said he was outside waiting for us, and he wanted me to hurry up. Little did I know, he had already gone into the locker room after me and knowing that I wasn't there. When I got into the car, he asked me how was practice. I told him it was good and I worked hard, but I knew and he knew I was lying. He started laughing at me. He just has a way of figuring me out, and I can rarely get away with anything when I'm around him. My hero is Gregory Sewell, and he was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he has lived here with his mom and his dad and 4 younger brothers. My dad lived here until he was 14, and he moved away. He moved to New York. He moved to New York and started high school there. And from being in Catholic school, from being in Catholic school and going to a public school in a big city like New York, that's when he started getting into trouble. Fast forward to 2007, I was playing basketball at the RAC, and he came to me and asked me if I knew who he was. I've seen him before, but I didn't know. He introduced himself to me and said, "I've been talking to your mother." And later that year, they got married, and he is now the father figure I never had. I'd like to thank you, Dad. And I'd like to thank you for being there for me and believing in me and being the father I needed. You are truly my hero. Thanks, Dad.
I only know one person who's been there literally since day one. My backbone. The only one I know I can depend on besides God. My hero, Elisa Alejo. She holds more than just a mom title. She's a dad, teacher, mentor, role model, and provider. If it wasn't for her selflessness, perseverance, and loving and caring self-being, I wouldn't be the person I am today. When I was younger, I wasn't able to appreciate everything that she did, but now more and more every day do I realize how much she does. I have two older sisters and one younger brother as if I myself wasn't enough to handle. So imagine the clothes she had to buy, the loads of laundry, and the number of mouths she had to keep satisfied. My mom, although it isn't always easy, makes sure we have everything we want and need. Ever since I can remember, she was always working hard to provide for her kids. Her reason to go to work was us. She always put us before herself and makes us her main priority. I have never known anyone so selfless. When she wants something, she's the type of person to use that money to purchase our wants instead, and is always open to share her own purchases as well, since all four of us girls wear the same size in clothes and shoes. I am always so grateful for her unselfishness. Growing up, she was always so optimistic and encouraging, which I think eventually rubbed off on me. I know everybody at least once goes through a phase of wanting or thinking about giving up on school. Whenever I was having one of those days, she always told me how blessed I was to have the opportunities that a lot of people don't attain and to keep trying so I could have a better circumstance than hers for myself. She was always my number one motivator. No matter what, she always told me to do right by people, even if they're in the wrong. It taught me to better myself. She never tolerated negative energy and is always encouraging positivity. She never made my siblings and I feel like we needed a dad because she always played that role. My hero is a single mom and a good one at that. Her love is unconditional, and how do I know this? If you know my oldest sister, then you know then you know she isn't always the easiest to deal with. But no matter what, my mom loves her the same way she did ever since day one. Sorry. She never gave up on any of us. I know that being a parent isn't a piece of cake, so I can only imagine how it is to do it all by yourself. Instead of complaining about going through this process alone, she takes pride in the young ladies and gentlemen that me and my siblings have become. She stays positive and never talks bad or down or bad about the missing presence of our dad, but says that it is him that is missing out on wonderful children. A hero to me is someone who is strong, caring, and influential. If I could be half the strong, independent woman my mother is today, I would be perfectly fine with that. I thank my hero for always being there for me through the good and the bad. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today, doing what I need to do to get to where I'm going. I can't conceive how hard you have it sometimes, but continue to stay positive through it all. She may not be Batman or Superwoman, but for this and endless reasons, this is why you're my hero. I love you, Mom.
In this roller coaster life, I've been up and down, but my brother's arm was always around me to get up safely and ready to go down. My hero has been my brother since the day I was born. He's 24 years old and he's the third child in our family. He went to UC and he graduated this year with a bachelor's degree. He has been accepted to George Washington University located in DC. He's continuing his dreams and hoping to get master's and a PhD. As a sister, I think he's very helpful and kind, but he's very strict on some things. He's overprotective like my dad. Like sometimes he never lets me go outside alone or he never lets me talk to boys. He's like my second dad. He has been with me my whole life, gives me advices whenever I need it. He's a good listener too. I call him the busiest man alive because he helps everyone with things that they need help with, like translating for some people, and even though he's busy, he always finds time for me. Since birth, he has been a big part of my life. He has been the one I lean on to. One time it was cold winter, windy, and a lot of snow. I was in first grade. Every morning our mom sent my brother, my sister, and I to school. She made us breakfast, dressed me up, gave us lunch money, and gave us a goodbye kiss. It was just a regular day, except my brother had an exam for spell. Then we said our goodbyes, grabbed our stuff, and ran. As a little girl, I was afraid of snow, so my brother took me over his shoulders and was running on the snow. I remember that my mom dressed me up like a little pillow.
I had my thick hat on, covered probably my half face. She wrapped my mouth and nose with a scarf so I won't breathe a cold air. I wore my big puffy coat in color of purple. I had my big boots on. It was so thick and high when I wore I couldn't sit on my knees. I had my gloves on, holding my brother's head tightly. We were halfway to my school, and I remembered that I forgot my backpack at home. I told my brother that I forgot, and he was mad. But he didn't yell. I was scared because I had very strict teachers at school. My poor brother ran back home in snow, leaving me with my sister. They were both they were both mad at me. Because of me, they were late to school. He ran back home, grabbed my backpack, came back, and dropped me off to school. I never forget this day because of me, he failed his exam. Like I said, this life is a roller coaster. This whole time he has been in my life, and I hope he will be part of my heart for the rest of my life. I hope his arms will never get tired of me, tired from holding me as a sister. And today, as I'm standing here, I just want to say I love you.
16 years ago, she vowed to never hurt me and always protect me. 12 years ago, she taught me how to spell my name. 2 years ago, she watched me go to my first homecoming. Growing up, she was not only my sister, she was the person I wanted to be. When I was younger, in my eyes, we were like best friends. We shared the same room and had cute, colorful bunk beds. We were bunkies. We didn't have many problems because we were 6 years apart, so things were great most of the time. The only time we would have problems are if she tried to turn SpongeBob off and watch 106 in Park. But when I got a little older and I was in middle school, we had more differences. Being a teenage girl, I began to get a bit of an attitude, and she did too. We really wouldn't verbally argue much because we didn't communicate. We just began to grow a little distant from each other when we moved from Forest Park to Finneytown. When we moved to Forest Park from Finneytown, sorry. I took it offensively. I thought my very best friend didn't want to be my best friend anymore. But it didn't bother me for long. I began to look at it in her eyes and understand that it's not easy for a teenager to share a room with a baby, especially one who is constantly talking, following you, and getting on your nerves. You can't say anything because they're a baby. So when we did move out and get our own rooms, she was always in her room listening to music or writing her own. By the time I got to high school, my sister and I were very close. We would talk more and express our feelings to each other. She would give the best advice on how to deal with mom when I'm in trouble. She was very good at that because she was always in trouble with mom. We would also have heart-to-heart talks and learn a lot, and I learned a lot about my sister as I got older. I found that she really went through a lot as a little girl, and that's why she and my mom is so loving to me and doesn't want to see me go through any struggles in life. My sister always tells me she has to make it in the rap industry for me and my mom, and she does any and everything for her and me. My sister really values me and the rest of her family more than anyone I know. She has been there for me even when I was mean to her. She is one of the smartest people I know. I know she is a very passionate person, and she expresses that in her music. She is my hero because she is strong and passionate, and I know I can always count on my sister.
A hero is someone who sacrificed their own needs and they're always there when you need them. In this world today, there are many different ways to be a hero. You don't have to use a costume or save millions of people in order to be a hero. As a child, I had always looked up to my father as a hero, tall enough to reach for the moon and give it to me, wise enough to know everything that is wrong. My dad has always been my hero, even though sometimes I think he's being mean, not spoiling me as much as I want, but I know he's doing what's best for me. As I when I being there's nothing my father could not do. He always expresses what he thinks, no matter how hard it is, or how hurtful it is, or what people think about him. He did everything he could to give me and my brothers a better life. He took the time to teach me how to talk and walk, which is one of the most important things in life. When I learned how to walk, like any child, I would occasionally fall. My dad would always be right next to me and pick me up. As I got older, I would hang out with the wrong crowd and occasionally fall. and my dad was always there telling me to get on my feet and try again. He told me never let anything stop me from what I want, especially the people who I hanged out with. He always encouraged me to go and reach for my dreams and fight for what I think is right. Whenever I'm sad, my dad says, "Smile, tomorrow would be a better day." I thank you, Dad, for everything you have done, taking your time to listen to me. I know that being a parent is not easy, seeing your child fall in the wrong path. But you were very strong. You always knew what to say and made me feel better. I am a very blessed girl because God sent me a very great person. Julio Garcia, a great father, born in Guatemala with no education and didn't have all the qualities I have, came to the United States and gave me and my brothers a better life and better opportunities. Always there for his family, no matter what. Papi, lo quiero mucho. Thank you.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I have a dream. These are all quotes from heroes: FDR, JFK, and MLK, all heroes based on their actions. However, I believe a hero is not based not just on actions, but his character as well. A hero should have the characteristics of bravery, dedication, and intelligence. My grandfather, Shirley Robert Nielsen, depicts all these qualities, and that is why he is my hero. My grandfather shows his bravery by being a World War II veteran. Although he never saw combat, I still think he's brave by joining the army when his country needed him the most. His bravery has inspired me to help my country in any way that I can. Even if I may not join the military, patriotism was instilled in me through him. My grandfather was always dedicated to his work. He showed his dedication to his work in whatever he did. This was especially shown when he bought my great grandfather's farm to run by himself. He worked all day and night, tilling fields, planting seeds, and when those seeds grew, harvesting crops. But it wasn't just the big things he worked hard on. He worked on everything, no matter how small. Some examples of this were helping my grandmother clean or cook. When I feel as though I is not doing anything, I just look back and think about how hard he worked, and this inspires me to move on and keep working. My grandfather was also very wise. Even though he only completed the 8th grade, he has taught me many things that I use in my life today. He was also very smart with his money. He became wealthy due to smart investments and keeping track of how what money he gained. I remember I asked him once when I was little how he became so wealthy. At the time I was little, I can't remember very much of what he said or what he was saying for that matter. But I do remember he said this: wealth is not determined by what you have now, but it is determined on how you use it and what it makes later. From this, I use what he told me to help create my financial future by saving for college or a car and everything else he has taught me. I don't have many memories of my grandfather because he passed away when I was just 6. But I cherish everything I remember because he's changed my life for the better. He will always take this spot as my hero now and forever.
Years ago, my 3 siblings and I were all living with a young mother who was going through some hard times. She needed people to keep her kids until she got back on her feet. My mom gave my 3 siblings to our grandparents and needed to see if someone would take me. She made phone calls and called my aunt and uncle, and they accepted me with open arms. I've been living with them for 18 years now, and I wouldn't be the person I am now without them. A hero to me is someone who is unselfish, passionate, influential, and a savior. Also, heroes are everyday people who contribute to your life on an everyday basis without needing acknowledgement. A hero will always be there for you and will do anything to keep you in a good situation. My hero has accepted me as his son since I was 6 months, never treated me differently from his own. He lost sleep and most of his free time to dedicate himself to making me successful in life. He's not just a normal hero, he's an unsung hero. Who I'm talking about was once known as just my uncle when I was born, and when I grew up, he became my dad, Kevin Arnold. My dad was born in Cincinnati but raised in Avondale. He has 5 kids, including me, and is a very family oriented guy. I'm the youngest of the 4 siblings. My dad inspires me in so many ways. He gets up every morning and works 9 to 5 to make sure he provides for his family. He treats my mother right and does everything a good man should do. He cooks while she's at work. He respects her and treats her like a queen. Every day he shows me what a good father is, and I would like to thank him for that. Growing up not knowing my biological mother or father will mess with me mentally at times. I felt rejected and unwanted, but because he is loving and an unselfish person, he made sure that I met them. For that, I thank him. He always told me it's important that you know your people. He's not just a hero, he's an unsung hero. Before I was born, he was coaching football in Windham Terrace. Windham Terrace is a tough neighborhood in the inner city. When I entered third grade, he seen I loved to play basketball, so he decided to create a basketball team in that neighborhood. When our team was first made, the kids were undisciplined and they were just off the chain. They would talk back to the coaches and they all had attitude problems. Knowing that my dad was a coach who disciplined us, he made us run for things such as jogging while we were supposed to sprint, or if we didn't give 100%, he would make us do sprints. He would preach to us about giving 100% at everything and comparing basketball to life situations. He was not just my father, but he was a father figure to the kids down there. It's a blessing because everyone on my team is still playing sports and doing something positive in life. Now I realize why my dad never had a problem with me working out. He would wake up every morning at 5:30 and help me with my jump shot. He did all this for me to use the gift God gave me of basketball for me to earn 4 years of free college education. This past year, my dad emailed a lot of coaches for me to get in college. You would think he was about to go to college. But because of his commitment, I got a scholarship at Kentucky State for basketball. I just want to say I'm thankful for all my father has done for me. I was blessed to be placed in his hands, and I want to say I love you, Pops, for being my hero.
In this world, it's hard to find a person who is not afraid to stand firm against other people who try to pull them down. Some people may define that person as a hero. For me, a hero is someone who is loving, passionate, and influential. There are a few people that I know that have these qualities, and one of those people happens to be my young life leader, Christina Hannister. Christina, or as her friends call her, Teeny, is a ESL tutor at White Oak for middle school students. She is also a young life leader for Princeton High School. Teeny was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, and has an older sister and older brother and grew up in a Christian family. Growing up, Teeny had a lot of her same friends till high school. When Teeny was in high school, her sister gave her a lot of influence to be independent, be successful in school, to have a job in school, to date, and to have a good career after high school. When Teeny was in Teeny saw this through her sister's example, and she decided she wanted to be just like her and made an effort to do so. Teeny got into Young Life, which is a Christian-related based group, as a high school student and learned that there has to be something bigger than this life. She found out that without a relationship with God, everything in this life is pretty much meaningless. She found the hope through the truths in the Bible that she didn't have. That hope helped her through college when her friend decided not to have anything to do with her, and she had to start over making new friends. Teeny has come a long way since then, and with the new friends that she does have, she has grown in her walk with God. She is my hero because she has encouraged me in my walk with God and family members. I've only known Teeny for a few months, but I feel like I've known her forever. I get my biggest influence from Teeny when it comes to loving others because I've seen Teeny being able to show her love for God to other people, whether they are believers or not, and still love them no matter what they believe. She is good with knowing when I'm upset, and she will always have her ears to listen. She has seen me at my worst when I didn't treat her right, but still loves me as a friend and cares for me. She is calm to correct me and to tell me when I don't do something right and is willing to talk through problems. She's been the voice in the back of my head, being real with me, telling me when I need to take a break and not stress out. Back in October of 2012, my dad had a stroke and I had to go to the hospital. I was in shock and in tears when I received the phone call that I didn't even know what to do. Teeny was one of the first people that I called after I heard he was in serious condition. She kept me calm and was pretty much my brain telling me to go to the hospital and not go to work. During the 9 long hours there, she gave me a call and gave me some Bible verses that I could look up for encouragement. When my dad's condition took a turn for the worse, I called her in tears and she prayed for me over the phone. I invited her to my dad's funeral, and it meant the world to me to see her there. She even took time afterwards to go out to eat with me to see how I was doing and to help me grieve. Now that it's been a few months since then, I know that without Teeny's encouragement, I wouldn't be the same person as I am today. I know I still got a lot of growing up to do as a young adult, but I know Teeny will always be there for me when I need her for anything. There is one piece of encouragement I can take with me when I go off to college, and that is what Teeny told me one time when we talked. I can find hope if the Lord is with me, no matter what situation I'm in. Thank you, Teeny.
A hero isn't always how they're seen in TV shows or what we read in books. They're the everyday people. The heroes we see in TV shows are people with superpowers that save people like Superman. A hero is somebody that keeps pushing throughout hardship. They help the people who are in need. My hero is my mom, who has been there for me since day one, through thick and thin. If I could describe my mom, she is determined, selfless, and patient. Never give up on your dreams is what I always hear from my mom. She is a single parent that had to raise my brother and I. My mom always has to work to provide for us, and it wears her down. She worked many hours to put food on the table. My mom always puts my brother and I as her first priority. My mom was determined for my brother and I to have a good life and have better things than she had growing up. She knows the struggle of growing up, moving around a lot, and not having the things she wanted, and really doesn't want me to have to go through it, so she's doing her best to prepare me for life. She made sure we were staying out of trouble. Ever since I was a little kid, she made sure I did my homework, even when I didn't feel like it. She was trying to get me to realize I was going to have to do my work because when you have a job, you have to do it or you'll get fired. When I had any type of problems, no matter what it was, she would try to help me with it. I remember times when my mom was sick, but I had something that needed to be done, and she would still do it. She would drive me to my games and practices. She was so sick that she wouldn't even go to work, but was still there to help me. Even when I used to tell her to just stay in bed, that didn't stop her. Throughout my life, she has taught me everything I need to know to prepare me for the real world. I've learned to never give up and keep pushing even when things are hard. She has done the best she can on her own, and I respect her for that. My mom will always be the number one person in my life, and I plan on taking the knowledge she instilled inside of me and becoming very successful in life. My mom deserves the world, and I plan on giving her that. I owe it to her for all the hardships and obstacles she has faced to make me proud. A hero for me is someone who leads you down the right path and gives you advice. My mom, she has always been there for me since I was born. She was a single mother because my dad had died, so she was always there for me and my little brother. She worked despite so much loss as my grandma and my uncle died in a car crash. She was sad and could have given up, but it amazes me how she still managed to work hard for me and my brother to live a better life. A hero for me, a hero to me, someone who is caring, noble, and strong because that means they have a good mentality to do everything that's in their mind and heart. 12 years ago, when I was 5 and my brother was 4, we were living in Mexico City. My mom was working in a shoe store trying to support the three of us. Her father and brother were living in Fairfield and encouraged her to move. Since she wanted to give us more opportunities, she had to work extra hours to save up enough money to move. She moved a year before we did while we stayed with my aunt. When she finally had enough to move us, she packed us up and brought us to the United States. Living and working in the U.S., she met who is now my stepfather, and together they have done everything to ensure that my brother and I have more opportunities for our future. We wouldn't opportunities that we wouldn't have
have had in Mexico. My mom is my hero because even though I might slack and stuff or do bad things, she's always she always cares about me and leads me back to the right path. That has made me a better person and made me care about what's really important in life. Like I got in trouble once for sneaking out. When I came back, she found out. She was mad and worried because she didn't know if something bad had happened to me. My mom has the biggest heart and she's my hero. I don't think I would be able to do what she did. She's the most important thing in my life. My mom believes in me. That gives me motivation to be better at school. Thanks, mom. Thanks, mom. I love you.
Imagine your life without someone to look up to. Would that be interesting? No. We have to have someone in our lives to make us better people. Everyone has their somebody who influenced their life. And I have my grandmother who influenced my life. I call her my hero. What does it mean to me? A hero is a life changer. My grandma is 71 years old. She was born in Uzbekistan, Samarkand city. She has a daughter who is my mom, and she has two sons, which are my uncles. In 2010, she joined us in the United States after 68 years of Eastern European life. She came here knowing very little English, and she still knows little English. When she came 3 years ago, she had difficulty embracing American culture. In fact, the stress of the move raised her blood pressure. She would try to talk to Americans, but she didn't realize that they don't speak Russian. And people would look like at her like she's crazy, but she's not. Also, because we're Muslims, the amount of skin that American girls show continues to surprise her. But she's adjusting slowly to American life. In fact, if I lend her my laptop, she gets excited to watch her soap operas. Even if they're still in Russian, she still uses the internet, which she never would have done back in Uzbekistan. My grandmother is my hero because she is very charitable, caring, and a nice person. She never leaves me alone when I have a problem. She tries to help me with tough decisions. For example, in my culture, we have arranged marriages. When I turn 18, potential suitors start coming around. My grandmother would evaluate them and determine if it's worth meeting them. As a result, I haven't met any yet. My, my grandma is my grandma is one who keeps both religious and Uzbekistan traditions alive in our home. She taught me how to bake, how to cook, how to be a well-mannered girl, how to respect someone, and how to get ready in life. She's the one who taught me how to pray and study the Quran. She's very tied to her religion and prays 5 times a day. I love my grandmother, and I'm proud of her, but she's strict when it comes to how I dress, how I act, and the decision I make. But I respect her for that. She wants me to grow up to be a nice person. She doesn't want me to get tricked by people like boys. She wants me to learn everything so that I can be a supportive and knowledgeable wife and mother in the future. I'm proud that Fazolat Hakimova is my grandmother. I love her dearly. I see my grandmother as a model of who I want to be as an adult. Strong, strict, caring, yet still full of life and humor. If my grandmother wasn't in my life, I would be lost, perhaps dead, or married to a tupoi, meaning stupid man. Thank Allah she's here to save me from that. Thank you, Grandma.